Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to No Final Bell. Yeah, I know. Shocker that we're back for another week, but this time it's going to be out on normal schedule. We're going to try to keep it like that for going forward, even if it means that I have to do it myself. I mean, my schedule's all over the place, so we'll
Both of our schedules are all over
so
the
we'll
place,
definitely
really. But
let you know. But at least this week it's going to be ROH and AEW, and then the week
next
after,
week is going to be Sacrifice
it's well,
and AEW Dynamite and Rampage.
honestly, no. I mean, I was like, isn't it going to be Super Card of Honor and
No, no, because this Friday is literally Sacrifice. Next Friday, the Friday after that is Supercard of Honor and
oh yeah, you're
Multiverse
right,
United.
you're right.
So yeah, next week is um Sacrifice
Yeah, so it'll
and
probably
AEW
be
Dynamite and Rampage.
well. I mean, I would assume that I don't know if we're going to be talking about ROH or
No,
not.
we're not talking about ROH that week.
Okay.
It's only going to be Sacrifice
And
and
AEW Dynamite
yeah.
Rampage. Okay, that's fair. But at least this week it's going to be ROH and AEW. So at least to start off with ROH.
Yeah, what a way to start the episode, by the way.
Yeah,
Claudio Castagnoli and Willie Mack.
yeah. I don't know how I felt about that because usually you would think that if you're gonna have your world champion, on
Yeah,
the
it
show,
is weird to have the world champion curtain jerking, but I mean, either way, it was
well,
a
I
great
mean,
match.
honestly, Pure Wrestling title has been having some great matches. The very
It
first,
seems like that's the direction that they're going, and like they're making that title like the main focus of the new era of Honor, which honestly that's fine. Like that works.
right?
But I mean, the way I look at it is like, don't forget about your world champion.
Yeah, no, exactly. But to start off wise, yeah, I know. Yeah, Claudio, Willie Mack, as your first match of the night. But honestly, it wasn't a terrible way to start the match. Claudio, of course, we definitely know what kind of man he is. Um, well, if anybody watched Dynamite, and we will talk about it, man, he gave one hell of a stiff uppercut to um, Evil Uno on
Yeah.
that Wednesday. Before, of course, you're seeing him on Thursday. Oh, how are you seeing him in two different brands? I don't know. Well, he's your ROH World Champion for a reason.
It's a little thing called they tape their show.
Yeah, I know. Um,
Sorry to expose the business, but
but yeah, Claudio Castagnoli and Willie Mack face off against each other. Pretty good match.
Well, in that case, you could even ask that question of, oh, how was he on Dynamite, then Ring of Honor, then Rampage?
Right. But yeah, Claudio
The man works
Castagnoli.
magic, my
Yeah, he
friends.
does. He's all over the place. But yeah, Claudio Castagnoli does beat Willie Mack to start off the night. Tell you what, Claudio deserves it. Of course, we'll talk about who his challenger is. Um, it looks to be Eddie Kingston heading into Supercard of Honor. Not a bad choice,
Well, it's
but it
weird
makes you
because
wonder what has Eddie Kingston done to even deserve a ROH World Championship
well,
title match? Well, yeah, there's some history between Claudio
it
and Eddie
brings me to
Kingston.
my point. On the week before, Eddie called out Claudio, and he's like, "Hey man, where's my shot?" To which Claudio responded with, "A man without honor will never be Ring of Honor champion," and it prompted Lexi Nair to interview him backstage, and she was like, "Hey, like, what was that about? Like, what's the meaning behind those words?" To which Claudio responded, "Did I stutter?"
Yeah, Claudio, I know.
Claudio's got a bit of a mean streak to him.
I will say, the pro wrestling Claudio is a whole different ball game than sports entertainer like Claudio as Cesaro in
Yeah.
WWE. you think, oh, he's this, down to earth, friendly kind of person. Oh well,
No,
you haven't seen
no.
anything. That was only like a third of what he can be
Well,
because
that's the thing too. Is like WWE tried to bring out a personality to Claudio that he just couldn't. You know.
right. No, see,
So.
you can't. There's not a lot of pro wrestlers that you can make sports entertainers. There's a few. I mean, Cody, you can, um, only because he was there before.
Well, and
AEW.
even then, like
Same thing with Seth
even when
Rollins.
he was in AEW, though, he always screamed like a sports
I
entertainer
will
to
say
me.
this now. Before we get onto everything with ROH, I would like to congratulate Rey Mysterio for
Oh yes,
making the
yes,
Hall of Fame. I wanted to
well
say it last
deserved.
show. I totally forgot about it. Well deserved to Rey Mysterio over 20 years of being in WWE. Definitely deserves it. But all of his time in WCW and as well as ECW and WWE, all that time together already automatically
I
should
mean,
just get him into the WWE Hall
yeah.
of Fame
So that's
regardless.
the thing too is that a lot of people, I feel, forget. The man spent 20 years in WWE, but he has an over 30-year wrestling career. He started, like, because the man is in his 40s. He started when he was 14. His
Right.
very first match was at the age of 14 years old.
So
So,
that's insane. And then also, of course, the great Muda.
yes,
Congratulations to
Great
him
Muda
being in
inducted,
WWE Hall of Fame. It kind of
getting inducted, I
sucks.
should say.
Yes, it kind of sucks because I saw something that Batista won't be inducted this year because of obligations and like recording a film during the induction ceremony.
Oh, I was gonna say it's probably yeah.
So I
I would
think he was
assume what it
originally going
is
to be in 20.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I think so. I think he was originally no, actually that movie is already like
Oh,
I
it's
think
got to be another
it's
film
coming
then.
out this year.
Yes.
Um, but it just sucks because I'm pretty sure he
Yeah.
was supposed to be a 2023 Hall
He
of
was supposed
Famer.
to be 2020. I'm pretty sure as well. And then we
Yeah,
know what happened with the 2020 Hall of Fame and
I
everything that happened.
know.
But even then, like all the
It just
2020 inductions or inductees, excuse me, were then inducted the following year in
yeah,
the
I don't know
Thunderdome.
what's going on with Batista. I feel like he's shooting himself in the foot with having other obligations because
Yeah,
I know eventually he's going to be a Hall of Famer. There's no doubt about it. He's had a
he has
electric.
a Hall of Fame worthy career
Yes, he
anyway.
has. So, um, to be honest with you, I did see something that they're trying to get the legal work to make Tori Wilson a Hall of Famer.
She's already a Hall of
Actually,
Famer.
not Tori Wilson. Who was
Stacy Keibler.
Stacy Keibler? Well deserved. I think she should. Yeah, Stacy
Yeah,
Keibler.
because
I did see that they're gonna try to make her get a little of it together. So then,
but much like Tori Wilson, I don't feel as though Stacy Keibler really did much in her career to be worthy of a Hall of Fame induction.
now it makes you wonder why is WWE pushing it back, pushing it back, pushing it back, pushing it back for The Rock to not get inducted. The man has literally
Yeah,
carried
yeah.
the 90s of the WWF
Well, not to mention,
at
it
the
makes
time.
perfect sense for them to induct him in Los Angeles, Hollywood, because that's where, the man literally
And I'm pretty
became
sure
famous
he
at
doesn't
this
have any
point.
obligations right now. Yes, I know he's busy with
Well,
XFL
it's
and
funny
everything
too
like
because
that.
literally he's doing anything and everything to avoid his cousin, Roman Reigns.
Right.
Because he'll show up anywhere else. I mean, the man literally showed up at the Oscars not that long ago, but yet he can't show up to Raw. Well, not to mention he didn't even show up to Raw 30. He was originally planned for that segment, but then it got scrapped for some weird reason. because they had like every generation of the bloodline,
Yeah,
or at least
I just don't
every
understand it.
living member of the
Right.
every generation of the bloodline.
So,
So it would have been Rikishi, The Rock, you
right.
know,
So,
Appa, Sheikah.
right. So, honestly, it would be nice to see him eventually get in. I just don't know why WWE just keeps on pushing it back for
Yeah,
him to get
I
inducted.
don't know.
But other than that, we're gonna get back on schedule
Back
here.
on track to Ring of Honor.
We had Dante. We had our second match of the night as
Mhm.
Dante Martin faces off against Mike Bennett.
Now, during the match, there was a really cool looking spot that happened. I guess you could call it a frog splash. I guess you could call it a crossover splash. I don't know what to call it, but basically, when Dante was midair, he did like a crossover move on Mike Bennett, and so it
It was
didn't finish off the match.
it was
But
definitely a very back and forth contest too. That's
yeah,
what I have here. Very back and forth contest. You really did think that Mike Bennett maybe had a chance. You thought, of course, Dante Martin was gonna have a chance to be able to do it. Well, yes, ultimately it did lead to Dante Martin beating Mike Bennett, but then Matt Taven beats down Dante after the match, and it was not until Darius made the save. What does this mean heading into Supercard of Honor? What it means is I think they're going to face off against each other, and I hope that this leads into like a future title match of whoever is going to win at Supercard of Honor. To be honest with you, because
well,
Darius is supposed to face off against Matt Taven, the day before,
Supercard of Honor.
or the week before Supercard of Honor. I keep on thinking it's the 24th for Supercard of Honor. It's actually the 31st instead. But yeah, so I think that's what's going to happen. You're going to see them, and they're going to ultimately make that match official for Supercard of Honor between Top Flight and the Kingdom. But I will say it's going to be nice to see Top Flight getting a tag team title match for
Yeah.
finally, but it's
Although
not
it
the
is,
ROH World Tag
yeah,
Team
I was gonna
titles.
say it is
It's the
weird because
AEW
like
World Tag Team titles.
it is weird because like it feels like they're going after both tag team titles, but at the same time it's like
Ultimately,
really
when you're
knows?
signed under both, why not?
Well, I mean technically you're not signed under both, but you with an AEW contract technically you can appear on both
Right,
because of the fact that Ring of Honor is the sister company.
right,
So
true. Um, so yeah, do you think that's what's going to be happening? Is like it's going to lead into a match of Supercard of Honor between these two tag teams?
it's possible.
And two, do you think that there should be where the
If
whoever
anything,
wins?
if anything, what should happen is they should be part of that Reach for the Sky ladder match. If anything,
That'd be cool.
because
That'd be cool.
not for nothing. Well, that's the thing too. Is
I forgot about that. Yes, yeah, the Reach for the
yeah.
Sky tag team ladder match is going to be for the ROH World Tag Team titles.
Oh, I'm
So honestly,
spoiler alert. I do apologize.
yeah.
That got announced later, but yeah. So I mean,
Well,
if
actually, it
anything-
wasn't really announced later. It was actually announced on a Rampage before.
well, no, it would have been on this because technically Ring of Honor is before Rampage in the weekly lineup. So this was the first that you heard about it.
Well, actually, technically, no. It was the week. It was a Rampage the week before the latest episode of ROH.
Was it?
Yes, it was. Yeah, because when we're talking about AEW Dynamite and Rampage, it's the week of the third episode.
Yeah, which would have been
But that Rampage, he announced it beforehand. It is
Okay,
we talked about it
okay.
on ROH. So
Okay,
yes, the Reach
yeah.
for the Sky ladder match is going to be official at Supercard of Honor. Honestly, yeah, why not have both of those teams? I just don't understand why they haven't announced more tag teams. I hope they do it for episode 4 that they're going to announce more tag teams for this ROH
I'm hoping so.
Reach for the
because,
Sky tag team
like,
ladder match, because so far you have the Lucha Brothers, which honestly
Yeah.
makes no sense.
Like, honestly, I'm gonna be watching episode 4 just for the hell of it. We're not gonna be talking
Right.
about it, but just
Um,
to see like
hopefully
what
this
happens
next
going
tag
into.
team can be a part of it too, as Blake Christian and Metalik have been a tag team on again, off again. Japan, they've been
Well,
tag team there.
the thing is, we'll talk about Blake Christian and Metalik later on, like with what happens later in the show.
Right.
But like honestly,
As a tag team, it wouldn't hurt
as a tag team, it wouldn't hurt. Yes.
because honestly, you could
But,
stack the card with like a lot of these tag teams competing. I say at least
like
maybe 6 tag teams or so, or maybe 8. 6 or 8 tag teams
I mean,
competing for this in this ladder match. Why not?
well, see, that's the thing too. Is Ring of Honor, at least it seems, has a lot more tag teams than AEW currently, which
Well,
is
yeah.
kind of sad because honestly, like a lot of those tag teams end up turning into trios and vying for those trios titles in AEW.
Yeah, I know.
So
I mean, we've stated it that it seems like the trios division is starting to
it's
really
really ramping up,
ramping up more than
which is
that
not a bad thing.
tag team division is. But personally, they still have teams competing for it. I mean, you still have the Guns, you still have Top Flight, you still have a lot of other. FTR,
Young Bucks.
I mean, so you still have
Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal.
Exactly. So you still have
your
your teams. Not as many as there used
Best
to be.
Friends.
Right.
We forgot about Best Friends. Yeah, AEW has their fair share of tag teams.
So I mean, yeah, it's maybe overlooked with the trios tag team division right now,
but it certainly is. Yeah.
But they still have their tag teams.
So, but no, back to
I was gonna
honestly, Super Card of Honor there might be something in place for Blake Christian and Metalik, just not in terms of a tag team. And like I said, we'll get into that later.
Right. So Blake Christian and Metalik face off against Trustbusters' own Ari Daivari and Slim J. If there's anything about Slim J, apparently he was he's an ROH
he is
original.
an ROH original.
He's been there since 2002.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Crazy to think.
Yeah.
But, and that's the thing about Slim J is you look at him and you wouldn't think that he's been in the business that long because he looks relatively young.
Right. I think he's been wrestling since he was like 16 or something like that too.
Which is crazy considering the Briscoes, at least Mark Briscoe, couldn't wrestle on the first episode because he was underage.
Right.
He wasn't old enough to be on the card.
I know.
So
honestly, with this one, Blake Christian and Metalik face off against Trustbusters' own Ari Daivari and Slim J. It was alright. I mean, it was cool to see Blake Christian and Metalik. They're the ringmasters, or the rope masters more so.
The rope master, yeah, the king of the ropes.
These two men were just high flying all over the place. The action was just crazy between these two tag teams, Blake Christian and Metalik. We already know how Metalik can be. I mean, if anybody is a big WWE fan, Grand Metalik was in WWE. He's just Metalik now in ROH.
Mm-hmm.
So, we already know the kind of high flyer he was. I mean, I don't know a lot of these talents from ROH, but Blake Christian really showed a lot of. I was like, holy crap, man, this man is good. He's a great high flyer. Yeah. The way that he moves
Blake
around
Christian's
in the ring.
a hell of a talent.
Yeah, he is a hell of a talent.
It's just sad that WWE just didn't ultimately know what to do with him.
I mean, we already knew what Ari Daivari brought to. I mean, with the Cruiserweight division and WWE as well, and then Slim J. I mean, he's been a high flyer. He's been, he's a vet of maybe all those guys more than not. But
I mean,
honestly,
not to mention he showed up on AEW television at least a handful of times. So
right.
You're familiar with him there.
But ultimately, Blake Christian and Metalik beat the Trustbusters. As we'll talk more about the Trustbusters, but it does not look very promising for them to start off the night. Mark Briscoe, wants to face off against Samoa Joe
He will get that match
for the
at
TV
Supercard of
title.
Honor.
Thoughts?
Yeah.
Personally, I hate to say it, Joe. I think your reign of TNT TV champ should just come to the end. I think you got to give it to Mark Briscoe here. You gotta
Yeah, I
do it.
mean,
You gotta do it for the legacy, of Jay
well,
to
the
have
thing
him
is,
win.
and we talked about that, I'm pretty sure we talked about that last week, where, I get it that, like, Mark Briscoe has always wanted to chase after the television title,
Hmm.
but, like, especially, like, to truly honor Jay's legacy, you gotta give Mark Briscoe the world title.
I know, but you know what? Honestly, I'm not opposed to him going after the
No,
TV
that's not
title
what I'm
for right
saying at
now.
all. Like, I'm not saying that, you
Right.
shouldn't give Mark Briscoe the television title, but at the same time, it's like, if you really want Mark to honor Jay's legacy, you give you give Mark Briscoe, excuse me, the world title.
Right. I mean, that'd be
Because
cool to see
honestly,
eventually.
Jay was a former two-time Ring of Honor World Champion. Like, why not have Mark hold the world title at least once
Right.
to honor Jay's
Like I
legacy?
said, I think Samoa Joe has had a nice lengthy reign as
Yeah,
TV champion, so I think it's time to have him drop it to Mark Briscoe at Supercard of Honor.
I
I think it's
mean,
going to be a great match regardless,
yeah.
but
I mean,
I think
not to
it's
mention, Joe beat Minoru Suzuki for the television title, which is so weird to even say. But
we'll say a Supercard of Honor last year or something like
yes,
that. Yeah,
yes.
so he's
Well,
had
it was after Supercard of Honor. It was on like the Dynamite after Supercard of
so
Honor.
he's literally held the title for almost a
Almost a
year.
year.
So it's
It's
definitely
the perfect time.
definitely perfect time to have him drop the
Yes,
title.
and especially against the opponent that he has in Mark Briscoe. Like I
Exactly.
said,
That's why I say I think
it's
it's time.
perfect timing.
It's
It's
time
perfect
for him.
timing for Mark Briscoe
Yes,
to
it
win.
is. It's time for him to drop the title. So also Mark Briscoe wants to make it his mission, and in his own words, bust the ass of everyone associated with Mark Sterling. And it's going to start with Tony Nese heading into next ROH.
Yeah. So this week he's facing Tony Nese.
Yeah, honestly, why not? Bust the ass of everybody associated with Mark Sterling. That's a lot of guys he has to bust the ass of.
Yeah, I mean, you got Tony Nese, well, he already did it on AEW TV. Um, Josh Woods
Right.
rekindled that rivalry.
Yeah, Josh Woods, Tony
Now you
Nese,
got Tony
Ari
Nese.
Daivari, Slim J.
Yeah.
Um,
I would have said Parker Boudreaux, but now he's off running with Swerve in the Mogul affiliates.
Right.
Sonny Kiss.
Mm-hmm. Which we haven't even seen. I think
I
on
don't even know
ROH.
I don't even know if he would wrestle on Ring of Honor. I don't know if Tony Khan would bring him in.
I have no idea, to be honest with you. But of course, we already talked about Reaching for the Sky tag team title ladder match. Have to see what happens with that. Yeah. So Eddie Kingston faces off against Jeeves K. Another member of the Trustbusters.
So you'll remember him as VSK. I don't know when he underwent this name change to Jeeves K.
I have no idea.
But either way, it's just a weird name, in my opinion, to call him Jeeves K. And like VSK, at least for me, was an easier name to remember.
Unfortunately, in this way, Trustbusters go 0 for 2 on the night.
Yep.
As Eddie Kingston beats Jeeves K. and it shows. Oh well, Claudio, after his match, came out, nice white suit.
No, during the match, and he walked out during the match.
Yep.
He was in the crowd, and Eddie Kingston was like taunting him. He's like, "Hey, jump over that barricade and hit me right here." To which
Claudio.
Excuse me, yes, Claudio. To which Claudio was like, nope, you ain't worth my time. Taking my belt, grabbing my chair, not worth my time. I was just here to watch the match, but since Eddie wants to goad me into this match, he's not worth my time. I'm not, like, I don't need this. I said what I said last
Well,
week. A man without honor
he
will
gets
never be Ring of Honor champion.
right, and then he gets bumped into the barricade and spills his expensive coffee onto his nice white suit top or dress shirt.
I didn't see that part.
Yeah,
Is that, huh,
yeah.
when did that happen?
It happened during the match.
Oh, so that's why.
Yes.
Claudio. Okay.
That's why he had to get up and walk
Okay.
away like that, because his nice dress shirt got all covered in coffee stains. Which,
Okay.
by the way, Claudio, if
I
I'm you,
missed that.
I would probably toss away that dress shirt, because it's
Yeah.
going to be tough as hell
Yeah.
to get those coffee stains out.
Those coffee stains are gonna be a bitch to get out.
So,
If you can manage to get them out.
but yes, he shows that he wants that ROH World Title, and honestly, all for it. I'm all for Eddie Kingston and Claudio. I think it's gonna be one hell of a match. Eddie Kingston is a very underrated wrestler, so why not give him a world title opportunity? To think that maybe he's gonna beat Claudio, I think would be a lot to have to say. But honestly, I think that he's gonna give a good challenge to Claudio in the main event of Supercard of Honor. I just don't see him overcoming and winning the world title at Supercard of Honor, to be honest with you. I hate to say Eddie Kingston. It's not
it would be shocking as all hell if Eddie Kingston, and that's no disrespect to Eddie Kingston, I absolutely think he deserves to be a main event star. But, like, I just, don't think right now is a good time to put the strap, like, to give him the strap. I almost said it. I had to catch myself.
Right. So the Trustbusters want a 6-man tag team match, and want Blake Christian and Metalik to find a partner. Thoughts?
Oh, they found a partner.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it. So we'll leave it off on that note right now. I only put thoughts because I didn't know if it was going to come almost like shortly after. So yes, not really much to talk about this match. Athena beat beat the living crap out of Hyon in that match. She's been on a rampage with that ROH Women's World Championship, threatening out almost every entire ref in her way of destruction. Continues looking dominant, and then Athena throws Hyon's face into the belt after the match. Literally, like, throws her into it. Her face right into the belt.
Yeah.
This is a crazy different side of Athena.
Yeah, she really, like, on a tear in both the
honestly,
AEW. Well, not really AEW as of late.
I think she's
transitioned more to Ring of Honor now.
And honestly, I'm fine with that, because she's the face of the women's division. You have to be there as the champion. So I'm all for it. It gives her something to do, because I feel like Tony Khan's like, oh, I do.
I mean, she kind of had.
And now you have ROH. You're like,
right.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah,
that's what I could do with Athena. I can have her mainly on ROH. Yeah, because
honestly, before Ring of Honor started back up, she was only really defending it on, like, Dark and Dark Elevation.
Right.
And even then, that was really the only place that you would actually, like, see her, was Dark and Dark Elevation. Because she won that belt at Final Battle, and then next thing you know, it's like, oh yeah, hey, now that you're the Ring of Honor Women's Champion, it's like, we need you to defend it, but, like, we don't have a show yet, so,
right.
You're going to Dark and Dark Elevation.
So, yeah.
So I guess you could look at that as, like, kind of a demotion, at least in the eyes of AEW, but it's a definite promotion for Ring of Honor.
It is. It didn't take not very long to find somebody, as AR Fox
Yes.
will join Blake Christian and Metalik to face the Trustbusters next week, and want to keep a close eye on a six-man tag team titles. Thoughts?
Yeah, so that's where I feel like they could, that might be the plan for Supercard of Honor
Mm-hmm.
is them taking on the Embassy
It
at
could.
Supercard of Honor for those six-man tag team titles. And honestly, it wouldn't shock me if they ultimately gave the titles to AR Fox, Blake Christian, and Metalik, considering uh, Brian Cage's contract status with AEW, because
That could happen. That could happen.
the only
If
question
Tony
though
Khan
is
was
like,
smart, I would say you try to re-sign Brian Cage. I know that's
I
not up to
honestly
him.
don't. I was gonna say I honestly don't see Tony Khan, or I'm sorry, Brian Cage. I'm stumbling on my words today. I apologize in advance. Um, but I honestly don't see Brian Cage re-signing, as weird as it is. And with that,
Why
it
you
makes
think
you beg the question of like, where does he go? Because honestly, I
he
feel as
could go back
though
to Impact?
I agree, honestly, but the reason I say that is because I feel as though
Yeah, personally,
during his entire tenure, if you can even call it that, with AEW, he, in a way, kind of felt a little unhappy because, like, he was there on the roster, but he didn't have any storylines for like an entire year or so until uh, Ring of Honor relaunched for Supercard of Honor.
mhm,
He was basically like the next, uh, he was basically the next recruit for Tully Blanchard Enterprises, which that didn't last long because honestly, like it was basically the same members of the embassy, just before Prince Nana took over Tully Blanchard Enterprises and rebranded it as the embassy.
right.
So
So honestly, yeah, I guess I would be okay with them, you know, taking on the embassy for the world, the
the six-man
six
tag
man
team
tag team
titles,
titles, because with Brian Cage, you don't know what exactly what's going on with him.
yeah,
I would have the embassy drop the titles for now
right.
until maybe Brian Cage gets his contract situation under control, and then maybe have embassy eventually, recapture them or something like that. But for right now,
I just don't see it happening because of, like I said, Brian Cage's whole contract status. He might just it's like once Supercard of Honor comes around, he'll drop the titles with the embassy, and then he'll go off, potentially re-sign, maybe not re-sign, go to another company,
right.
and
Personally, I mean, even if he doesn't sign, you still have the embassy that can go after the ROH World Tag Team titles instead of the six-man tag team titles.
well, at least the Gates of Agony,
Right, the Gates of
they
Agony.
would be, yeah,
Right.
they would be the Gates of Agony at that point again.
So
And go after the tag team titles.
personally,
Right.
I guess I'm okay with that. I'm very curious to see how AR Fox, Blake Christian, the Mental Leaker is gonna fare against the Trustbusters.
Yeah, that is going to be an interesting matchup. Sure.
So go on to the next match. A name that's very synonymous to ROH.
Yes.
Silas Young faces off against Marcus Cross. Not really much that has happened in this. Silas Young pretty much beat Marcus Cross, but the way that he was moving in the ring, that like spring, the kind of like catapult kind of like move, like he like what is it, like had like his feet off the ropes, and then you, I
Oh,
mean
a
you were
handspring?
yeah, you were watching that match. You know exactly what I'm talking about with Silas Young. He did like the handspring onto Marcus Cross during a thing that was like almost like the ending of the match or something like that.
I wasn't truthfully, I wasn't paying that much attention to the match.
This man
So
does double duty. He's like watching something else as well as watching it. But I don't know how the hell he even keeps up with everything. But again, yeah, Silas Young beats Marcus Cross. And then afterwards, it says it's been 1 year since he last was here. And
yeah,
when
over a year. Like they were talking about it on commentary, literally like the last.
I think it was like rebranding of 2021 or something like
Yes.
that. Yeah. And then when you think of ROH, you think of Silas Young, and there isn't
He's
another
not
man
wrong.
that measures up to him. And out comes Shane Taylor.
Yeah.
It says that he has been the most
Dominant television champ.
champ and wants to take him on next week. Thoughts?
I am all for having, I am all for Shane Taylor on my screen, on my television screen.
Yeah, we're gonna get
like,
Shane Taylor and Silas Young here.
He's a very underrated performer, in my opinion, Shane Taylor, because like, not a lot of people know his name. Not a lot of people have seen his work.
Right.
And like, that's just, to me, that is the most baffling thing, because like it was at what, Final Battle, right, where him and his partner there, I forget his name, as Shane Taylor Promotions took on Swerve in Our Glory before they ultimately had their breakup.
Right.
So, but yeah, because honestly, like, that was the last time, that was the last pay-per-view before Final Battle 2021 that Shane Taylor was actually on.
Right.
So, and yeah, Final Battle 2021 saw Shane Taylor face Kenny King in a fight without honor. So, yeah,
so
now
honestly,
look at Kenny King. He's in Impact.
Right. I'm honestly all for this match. I mean, I don't know much about Shane Taylor. I barely know anything about
The only
Silas
thing you
Young,
need to know about Shane Taylor is that he is a powerhouse.
Okay.
An absolute powerhouse.
I guess we're gonna
will dominate anybody.
I guess
and
we'll
I'm
definitely
sure
be having
he will
a great
dominate
match.
Silas Young.
Yeah, probably will.
Even not to cut you off, but you were saying how don't know much about Silas Young. All you need to know about Silas Young is that he is professional wrestling's last real man.
Well, as he claims.
Not a claim, it's a fact.
So Athena challenges Yuka Sakazaki
yes,
to a match at Supercard of Honor for the Women's World Championship and says if she shows up, she will make her disappear again. Thoughts?
I don't know if Yuka will actually accept the match. Like, I don't even know.
I guess if she will, we'll have to find out on the next episode of ROH. So
yeah, because honestly, like, so far, and it's kind of sad too, because literally, from the day of the next episode of Ring of Honor, you only have a week out until Supercard of Honor, and so far only like what, 2 or 3 matches have been announced for Supercard of Honor.
Well, the world title match has been announced.
Well,
the TV title hasn't been announced.
Has the world title match been announced?
I don't know. Maybe
no,
I know the TV title
announced.
has been announced. The
TV title has been announced.
The tag team
title ladder match. And then, yeah, like I said, only like 2 or 3 matches have been announced so far for Supercard of Honor. And you're like from the time of recording this, you're 2 weeks out from the pay-per-view. But by the time the next episode of Ring of Honor Television comes out, you're a week away from the pay-per-view, and you haven't announced any more matches for the pay-per-view.
Well, I mean, they technically still have 2 more episodes before they have to worry about.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You still
but
have,
like,
you still have the 24th. You still technically have
the 30th. Which, honestly, though, how many people truthfully are going, like,
Oh, I
no
mean, I meant to say the
disrespect.
23rd. You have the 23rd
Yes, you
and
have
the
the
30th.
23rd and the 30th.
Right.
But for the 30th show, truthfully, and no disrespect, but how many people truthfully are going to be watching that episode when on that day, like, there's literally three things of wrestling happening technically, because you have
Well,
um
I would assume that ROH would be coming, you know, on Honor Club way before
that would be the
Multi
smart thing to
first
do, but
United.
that would be the smart thing to do, but honestly, it's gonna come out at the same time regardless. It's gonna come out at 7 o'clock at night and go on until 9 o'clock. But truthfully, what they should do is, like you said, put it on earlier. But so
Or not have a episode 5 at all, or
well,
have
you
episode
can't do
5
that.
a different. I don't know.
But so there's going to be episode 5 of Ring of Honor on Honor Club. There's going to be a live from Los Angeles Impact, as well as Impact and New Japan Multiverse United.
Right.
How the hell is anybody going to be able to balance all three of those?
I don't know. I don't know.
But, like, so back to that, truthfully, who's going to be watching ROH when we have Impact and New Japan Multiverse United? And like I said, no disrespect to
Probably the
Ring of
people
Honor,
that are
but
not big into Impact. I don't know what else to tell you. But
yeah, I
other
was going to
than
say there's a lot of people who are like ROH faithfuls and have watched the product even during like the beginning and will continue to watch even in this new era. So but yeah, like for me, I'm gonna be watching Multiverse United,
right, so again,
and
Athena,
I will be talking about Multiverse United.
right? Athena puts out the challenge, and I think honestly we're gonna see probably Yuka accept it. I can't see why not.
If anything, it would probably be like a social media
Right,
um,
probably will.
acceptance,
And then
because
we'll end up
at
being
least as
in
far as
Los
I know,
Angeles,
she's not.
California for
At least as
Supercard
far
of
as I
Honor.
know, she's not in the state yet.
Right.
So
So we got to the six-man tag team title match between the Embassy and Dalton Castle and the boys. I will say that during this match, there was a lot of moments where I thought maybe Dalton Castle and the boys would win back the six-man tag team titles because, at one point they did have the titles before Embassy um, won them. So, because I'm pretty sure it was Final Battle last year where the Embassy beat Dalton Castle and the boys for the
yes,
six-man tag team
yeah,
titles. So
yeah, it was Final Battle. It
it
was
was a rematch from Final Battle last year.
yep.
So ultimately,
And we say last year, 2022.
right.
He was at
Um,
the end of the year,
so Dalton
like not
Castle and
even a
the
few months
boys,
ago.
I mean, like, they're good. But, Dalton Castle is one hell of a wrestler.
Yeah,
The boys,
he's just more complete
I guess
he's just more complete with the boys.
he is than he is by
So
himself. But the Embassy, man, I tell
it's
you what, they are one hell of a freaking
it's
trio.
weird for me to say that Dalton Castle is more complete with the boys, considering Dalton Castle is a former Ring of Honor World Champion.
Right.
But
It is what it is.
yeah,
Um, but ultimately, I really do think that it's going to be interesting to see how long Embassy is going to hold these six-man tag team titles as they beat Dalton Castle and the boys, and then beat them out after the match, and out come the guys that want a shot at a title spots. It's really looking like it's going to happen.
if
That
anything, we might just even get a triple threat like trios, which would be weird of
which
like how
honestly,
they would work that. But at the same time, it's like, hey, It's not entirely out of the realm of possibility.
I mean, anything is possible. You just instead of one guy on each corner, you're gonna have two guys on each corner, and you can tag out, either guy.
Yeah.
Um, so honestly, I that could be a possibility, and honestly, I would be all for a triple threat, six-man tag team title match at Supercard of Honor. That would be cool. But honestly,
It would be different because
then again,
I don't think a match
I
of
could
that
see it
caliber has
being
happened.
just the Embassy and um, AR Fox, Blake Christian, and Metalik.
That's the more. That seems like the most likely scenario.
Right.
But I mean, honestly, a triple threat like trios match would be interesting because I don't think that they've ever done anything like that before
Mhm.
in any company. I could be wrong, but
Right. So, Trish Adora faces off against Madison Rain. I really did think maybe there's going to be a slight hope that Madison Rain was going to beat Trish Adora because ROH she's not really like heavily involved with, where opposed to like AEW where she's like in charge of like the women's division
but
on
that leads
AEW.
me to ask the question of like, what is Madison Rain really doing in AEW like as an in-ring worker? Because
I think she's
she's
just
really
helping to put
not.
over the younger talent, honestly, at this point.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much her role is a coach for the women's division.
Hmm.
That's probably like
But
you know
ultimately, Trish Adora beats Madison Rain. I
yeah,
mean, she's been looking pretty good, 2-0 in
at least 2-0
2023.
in 2023.
Yeah.
She's been in Ring of Honor previously during like that. Uh, I I almost was gonna say like Women of Honor period, but no, actually it was like during that Ring of Honor like World Women's Title tournament when they like rebranded Women of Honor as like the ROH Women's division. So yeah, because it was a whole mess what happened with Women of Honor and like that whole division. Because essentially, um, if I remember correctly, like what ended up happening is I want to say it was the champion at the time. I'm blanking on her name, but what ended up happening is like Joey Mercury was like writing for Ring of Honor at the time, and like he had wanted the champion to like show up and like do all this stuff. It was a messy situation that ultimately led to like them vacating the title and then ultimately like getting rid of the Women of Honor division and then like fast forward because I think it happened during the pandemic and then like fast forward a year and they rebranded as Ring of Honor Women's Division and that's how we were able to get the Ring of Honor Women's World Title. So,
Right.
but yeah, the whole thing was just a rocky situation.
So Darius Martin, to face off against Matt Taven next week. Thoughts? Why not, have Top Flight get another, victory on the Kingdom, and then ultimately ends up having the Kingdom beating Top Flight at Supercard of Honor. I could see that happening.
Or like I said, they could just be part of that reach for the sky ladder match.
Right? Who knows? So Matt Sydal and Christopher Daniels, another team that could end up being in that reach for the sky ladder match. That'd be cool. But
Either way, there's a lot of potential tag
they
teams that
haven't
could be a part
teamed
of it.
in like 17
Yeah,
years. It's been a while since like 2006
yeah,
that they've teamed.
yeah,
So they face off against the Outrunners and then actually get a victory for the
yeah.
first time in many years. Um, Outrunners, if you've seen them, they basically are like they've just came out of the 80s, trying to bring back old school tag team wrestling.
They should hang out with Johnny Swinger.
Yeah, right. And out come Aussie Open. Yeah, we know them from United Empire. Um, and then say it's an honor to see them back, and says there is no one better than Aussie Open, which probably true. Says the last time when they were last a tag team, he was a
wee little boy.
wee little boy. Just shows you how young that one guy from Aussie Open
Yes,
is.
Kyle Fletcher is very young.
And then they want the ROH World Tag Team champs, and then says that there's no better than beating the former champs. When will we get this match? Personally, I'm thinking probably the episode before Supercard of Honor. I feel like that's where we're gonna get, or we could just get it at Supercard of Honor. We could just get Matt Sydal and Christopher Daniels against Aussie Open. And then I think it should be a number one contenders match.
I was just about to say
whoever
that.
wins faces off against whoever is the tag team champions
after the
ladder match.
Yeah. I like that idea.
And who better than maybe Aussie Open going after the World Tag Team titles? That'd be cool.
Tony Khan doing, yeah, that's a great idea. Book it.
So, that's what I'm looking forward to. So we get on to our main event.
Yes.
As Wheeler Yuta faces off against Clark Connors. Great pure wrestling match between these two.
Product of the
LA
New Japan
Dojo.
LA Dojo.
Yes. Wheeler Yuta has just been on a tear as pure wrestling champion as he gets another victory and beats Clark Connors to retain our.
And the week prior, he beat Timothy Thatcher. That's a hell of an accomplishment.
And then he's like, well, since I'm no longer a student, I want to call out the teacher. I want to call out
Katsuyori Shibata. Is Wheeler Yuta nuts or something?
I think he's just
incredibly brave.
I think he just wants to go out there and prove that he is the best pure wrestling champion of the ROH brand.
Well, it's going to take a lot for him to prove he's the best pure wrestling champion there is, because when Bryan Danielson exists,
yeah, I know,
he was a former pure champion.
I know, but honestly, I think this is going to be the match that's going to happen at Supercard of Honor. You're going to get Shibata versus Wheeler Yuta for the Pure Wrestling Championship, and honestly, I'm all for it. It's going to be one hell of a match in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
You would have to have it happen, one. And two, I mean, you have literally 2 weeks to book, Supercard of Honor, so you kind of have to, rush. But I think now that, ROH is starting to have weekly episodes, I will say I think leading into the next pay-per-view afterwards, which I would assume is Death Before Dishonor.
Yeah.
It would get a little bit easier to book it when there's weekly episodes of ROH.
Yeah.
So this is going to be if for ROH we're going to get into AEW.
We're going to have to just go rapid
So AEW
it.
starts off with MGF celebrating his birthday with his rebar mitzvah. Claims he is Iron Man after the match, and out comes Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Starts talking, and then Sammy Guevara comes out, tries to talk, and then Darby Allin comes out. And MGF wants to know what they want, what the hell they want, and they all say they want a title match. Then Jungle Boy tells him to shut up and face off, and he says he cheated as always. Says he was handed every opportunity while he wrestled on Dark. Says he gets to walk around and do whatever he wants. Says there are people in the back that bust their ass but only get 60 minutes on the show if they are lucky.
60 seconds. You said 60 minutes.
No, 60 seconds on the show if they are lucky. But he takes 20 minutes to do some hunky bullshit he always does. And making that stop is taking the title away from him. MGF says that the company does revolve around him. Sammy says he talks too much and has done this his whole career and kisses ass. And says he has had to work his ass off to get here and was supposed to be the inner circle's bump guy and became because of working his ass off became TNT champion 3 times over. Says he's not like him and says he's got here and will get there, pointing at the Triple B title. Says and says he will be the world champion because he's the best ever and you know it. Then Darby cuts MJF off and says it's his time and says to hold his applause to the end. He dropped out of school and became a pro wrestler. You're either going to make it or not, but not change a thing. There will be a bidding war for him. And let him and the real reason why he likes being in AEW is because
Tony Khan allows him
to be him. Says you have grown ass wrestlers wanting to leave, they don't get what they want. Marty, I think you can replicate.
Yeah. So he was like, "Oh, you've got grown ass wrestlers in the back complaining about, oh, I'm unhappy. I don't like it here. I want out of my contract when I leave, and that includes you, Max." And he was like, "That's why I deserve to be world champion. And if you don't give me that match, well, I might just complain about it on Twitter."
Yeah, and then maybe we'll just complain on Twitter if he doesn't get the match. He beat his ass, and Darby says,
"Yeah." MJF took off the hat and sunglasses to reveal his bloodshot eyes and his 2 black eyes.
And then Darby
is like, "Man, you look like shit."
Calls out each man in the ring. Sammy says, "That's cute," because didn't his
Yeah, he ended up talking to Sammy Guevara, and he was like, "Oh, you'll just propose to a new girl like next month or whatever." To which Sammy replied, "Huh, that's cute. Didn't your fiance leave you?"
Says, "Oh, we wanted to make jokes." Says he doesn't have anyone, and says he didn't have to be enrolled in daddy daycare. Says he's the only pillar to keep this place up. He says all 3 men don't deserve a title shot and wants to eat his cake because he deserves it. And all the men beat each other down and MJF goes into the cake. What does this mean going forward? Well, what it means is that the devil has a big target on his back, and then there's 3 men that are very proving contenders for the
worthy contenders
for the world championship. I think that you should have have each man like a triple threat match. Whoever wins gets a face off against MJF at, or what you could do at Double or Nothing is have a fatal 4-way match for the world championship because they're all well deserving of it. I think that's what you should do, personally.
Yeah.
So the Blackpool Combat Club face off against Dark Order and Hangman and Page in the trios match. Man, Blackpool Combat Club took it to Adam Hangman Page and Dark Order, and then they beat down Evil after the match, and the rest of
that is what concussed.
Yeah, if anybody saw that, the uppercut looked a little stiff to the point where it janked his head back and concussed him a little bit. He was holding the top of his head. He looked like he definitely could see he was out of it afterwards. Yeah. And then the rest of the Dark Order come out to make the save. What does this mean? What it means is that Alex Reynolds and John Silver might actually team up again with Adam Hangman Page to face off against the Blackpool Combat Club. Honestly, I'm okay with this because it gets something new for Blackpool Combat Club and something else for Dark Order and Hangman Adam Page. But what it seems like is that Adam Hangman Page and John Moxley are not done with their rivalry, which I don't know if I like at all because you've already faced off like 3 different times. Now you're having this whole trio thing going on, which, fine, you can have it going on. I don't know if it's going to lead into Double or Nothing or not in May, but To be honest with you, I guess it gives something different. I mean, in a sense, but I don't know. Juice Robinson wants to know what. Um, oh, yeah, Juice Robinson wants to know what Ricky will do about him.
Ricky
Thoughts?
Starks.
Yeah, Ricky Starks. Um, Personally, I'm okay with giving Juice Robinson somebody. If it has to be Ricky Starks, fine. Um, to which Ricky Starks says, "Well, this ain't 2015. This is 2023." Meaning, like, you basically haven't been relevant since
Well, no, he
2015.
was talking about Bullet Club at that point. He
Like,
was talking about Bullet Club hasn't been relevant since like 2015.
so, so yeah. Um, this is not much to talk about this next match. Jade Cargill literally squashes Nicole Matthews, who has more experience than Jade Cargill
Yeah.
does, um, to retain the TBS championship
And after
and
the match,
stay
he was like,
undefeated.
"Is that all you? Is that all you got, Canada? I expected better." To which, out comes Taya Valkyrie.
Then Layla Gray wanted a piece of her, and then Valkyrie uses the Road to Valhalla on her. What does this mean? Well, it looks like Jade Cargill's got a new challenger, and
Yeah.
honestly, it's about time. It's somebody that has been a former world champion in multiple different promotions in Taya Valkyrie. So honestly, I'm all for Taya Valkyrie getting the AEW Women's World or the TBS Championship.
I
I
mean, I'd
mean,
be okay with her getting the women's world title as
I mean,
well.
she's a
But
former Impact Women's World
yeah, she's a
Champion,
former
Knockout
Knockouts
Women's.
world champion and former Knockouts tag team champion. She literally lost her Knockouts tag team titles with, uh, she was paired with Rosemary for that, but it was
Right.
Freebird rules with the Death Dolls. On the
Honestly,
latest episode of Impact, they lost him to the Coven tag team of Taylor Wilde and the
right.
recently signed to Impact Wrestling Kylan King.
Um,
So
and then also, I'm pretty sure she was the NWA Women's World Champion. I want
no,
to say.
Taya never won
No,
the Burke.
I mean she's
It
also
would
the
have made
Reina.
sense for
She's
her to
also
win
the
the
Reina
Burke,
de
but
Reyes.
yeah, she's current Reina de Reinas champion and current and inaugural MLW Women's, I believe it's featherweight champion.
Hmm. So, why not add another,
I mean, hey, she's
mark
like
to
that.
her?
She's the female Kenny Omega in the fact that she's a belt collector.
So why not collect another belt in the TBS Championship? Um, so yeah, Ricky Starks wants Juice Robinson and whoever else he brings everywhere, any, everywhere, any place. Thoughts? Ricky Starks, you might want to watch out who you call out and who you want because you don't really have anybody to help you out in this fact. If Juice Robinson goes out there and brings Bullet Club with him, it's just you, buddy, and then you're gonna get beat down unless you get have some friends in the back that might save you and help you out. But other than that, I mean, yeah, I guess there's who was that guy that was teaming up with Ricky Starks at that one point? Um, Action Andretti. You have
Oh
Action
yeah,
Andretti that can probably save you, but other than that, there's not really anybody else that's gonna make you this to make the save. Will Hobbs. Looks like he's calling out Wardlow. Why does Wardlow have to be synonymous with a fucking TNT championship? This is what's pissing me off about it. Like, I'm okay with Powerhouse Hobbs being the TNT champion, but why does Wardlow have to be associated with every single
yeah. I don't know.
champion as a like? Give it a break. Like
Move on with
if you have
Wardlow in the
nothing
TNT
for
title.
Wardlow on AEW, then put him on ROH or something like
I
that.
agree.
Like fuck.
Like that's the thing too is like with Wardlow, move on with him and the TNT title. Like that's the problem that
Right.
you had with Sammy Guevara and Scorpio Sky.
Right.
That whole rivalry was centered around the TNT title and basically like hot potatoing it.
I know.
It's like, dude, just move on from this. And it seems like they're doing the same thing with Wardlow. It's like, move on from this.
Right. So Orange Cassidy faces off against Jeff Jarrett for the International
Yes, the
Championship.
AEW International Championship as it has now been
Jeff Jarrett
rebranded
was
to.
trying so hard to cheat in this match and get the victory. With Sanjay Dutt, with Satnam Singh, with even apparently a healthy G Lethal. Yeah, that injury is bullcrap. He's not actually injured at all. But with all that was thrown Orange Cassidy's way, he still retains the International Championship. So the Outcasts come out and they want to make change in the women's division, say they aren't going anywhere, and out come Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter to beat them down, and then the Outcasts turn it back on them after, and then out comes Riho, Sky Blue, and Willow Nightingale to make them retreat. What does this mean? Well, it means that the Outcasts have a lot of people that have to worry about. You have
If
Britt
not,
Baker, Jamie Hayter, you have
yeah.
Rio, Sky Blue, and Willow Nightingale.
If anything, if not at Super Card of Honor, I certainly smell like a triple threat women's trios match happening between that pairing of Riho, Sky Blue, and Willow Nightingale.
Let's be honest.
Versus,
It's probably
actually,
going to
no,
be
it
on
wouldn't be.
Rampage.
It wouldn't be a triple threat trios because then Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter would have to find. So if anything, I could see
There's
Riho,
always
Sky
Rebel,
Blue, and
I
Willow
guess.
Nightingale again. Yeah, but Rebel, I heard that they took her out of that storyline because they seemingly have turned Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter babyface, and she wouldn't work like with the dynamic. So
whatever. I mean, it is what it is. But yeah. I mean, like I said before, I'm kind of like joking. That'll probably just end up being on Rampage. Let's be honest. So yeah, we got into our main event of Rampage of Dynamite. The House of Black faces off against Jericho Appreciation Society and the Elite. And House of Black beat JAS and the Elite to retain the World Trios Tag Team titles, and then for whatever reason, Jake Hager just randomly comes out and wants a piece of the House of the Black. And then Dark Order and Blackpool Combat Club are beating each other down. And Hangman is surrounded. What does this mean?
Well, Hangman is surrounded, he's in the ring as Blackpool Combat Club is in the ring. And then next thing you know, the Elite is there, and Hangman is kind of stuck in the middle. It's like, well, here I am. It's like, okay, well, these are my former friends, and then I have my enemies. It's like, where do I? And then so Blackpool Combat Club retreat. Next thing you know,
Personally,
you see Hangman slowly look behind him, sees the Elite. He's like, oh, hey, like it kind of just cuts off after that. So it's like we don't know what happened with.
I know. Personally, what I could see happening next is maybe House of Black, Adam Hangman Page, and Dark Order, but with Reynolds and Silver instead of Uno and Grayson.
Well, yeah.
And then maybe the Elite. I can see that happening. But other than that, I don't know that actually means. So we get onto the Rampage side of things. Powerhouse Hobbs puts the title on the line for the first time since winning it.
It was supposed to be an open challenge, but then it got answered by Ray Phoenix on like not even right before Rampage, and I think it got answered by Ray Phoenix on Dynamite.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a waste of an open challenge in a sense, but at the same time, it's like, hey, it's a match for Powerhouse Hobbs.
Right. So Powerhouse Hobbs does beat Ray Phoenix, but Ray Phoenix did bring it to Powerhouse Hobbs in that match, but ultimately Powerhouse Hobbs just overpowers Ray Phoenix to retain a TNT Championship. Well, March 29th isn't just going to be the debut of
AEW All Access. It is also going to be the return of
AEW.
the in-ring return of Adam Cole.
About time. That's all I gotta say. Stu Grayson wants John Moxley thoughts. Well, you do get John Moxley on Dynamite, but I hate to say it, you're not gonna beat John Moxley.
Yeah.
Tyler Valkyrie beats Ava Lawless. Stokely Hathaway is getting trained before his match with Hook. Thoughts? You can get all the training you want, but let me
Hook's
tell you
gonna beat
something.
that ass.
I don't know about that. It's a no disqualification match. I really do think that the firm, Matt Hardy, and everybody else is going to actually help Stokely Hathaway get the win here.
I mean, I don't know, because the way they've been building up Hook is like he's this unstoppable, like,
I know, but I
you
think
know,
that Hook is going to get his first L here.
and it would be via like those, dirty tactics and the fact that it's no disqualification. But
Angela Parker and Matt Menard beat the Bollywood Boys.
2.0,
The Guns will put their titles on the line against Top Flight. Thoughts? All four Top Flight getting a world titles opportunity, but don't forget that FTR is still out there for the Guns to have to deal with too. And then Daniel
I just want to
Garcia.
correct you on your notes. You wrote Brody Lee. It's Brody King.
Okay, that's my bad. Yes, I meant it. Daniel Garcia faces off against Brody King, but beats Brody King with the help of from Chris Jericho with Floyd the Bat. So this is going to conclude this episode of No Final Bell. Make sure to follow us on social media at Tinkle Sports. Of course, all of our content is on Tinkle Sports Entertainment. Typically, usually on Facebook Watch for the show, as well as Out of Turn 4. Of course, if you don't want to just watch this show, we do have Sunday Morning Tinkle every Sunday at 9 a.m. Typically, the show every Wednesday at 5, and then Out of Turn 4 every Tuesday at 5, unless on hiatus and everything like that. So, we will. This is going to be the end of this episode. We'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye, everyone.